I need to make something clear from the get-go. I am not Brad Taste in Music. Anytime I have a video that does numbers, there's at least 2 or 3 comments. At least 2 or 3 comments saying I look like Brad Taste in Music. I'm not an avid watcher of the guy's channel. I saw him blow up initially, whenever that was, like 4 or 5 years ago. I've been loosely aware of some of the drama he's been involved in since then. Up till now, it's been kind of just a ha-ha little thing. Yeah, okay, there's one more comment saying I look like Brad Taste in Music. So funny, guys. But now it's different because I feel like I need to actually differentiate myself from this person given a video he uploaded today. Brad Taste in Music uploaded what I could only describe as a very greasy diatribe earlier today. The video was removed after, I believe, a couple hours, but there are re-uploads already. In it, he talks about his continually deteriorating mental health, his ideations towards and the big bombshell is that he admits to having been arrested for domestic violence. On top of all this, he very clearly considers himself to be victim number 1 in this whole situation. It's an interesting watch. It's a depressing watch. I'm going to cut down some of the yammering because there is a lot of slightly schizo-feeling ramblings that occur in this video.
So I want to try to explain to you guys what's going on through my head because it's pretty interesting. I had to just go to my computer and hit record because I know I have to make this video. And not for the reason that you think I have to make this video, like I'm saving my reputation. But because if I don't make this video, I'm going to keep thinking about it. Realistically, like, yes, I would love for this video to, like, make it so that, like, it's easy for me to just return, go back to normal, what I was doing before, But the reality is I could do that anyways. I'm in a good spot right now where artistically I'm confident enough in myself to where if I started making content, I believe that people would enjoy it enough. I could just go the sneaky underground, mysterious artist route that, like, honestly, I've seen everybody do. Everybody's doing it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't been super plugged into this guy's stuff in a while, but doesn't he just stream music and yap about whether he likes it or not? Why are we talking about being an artist? Maybe I'm missing something here. I just feel like that language is a little lofty for what your content is.
All right, let's start from the beginning of, like, where things went wrong. I went to a show. It was a live show in California. It was Ethen Klein and Ethen Klein performing. I had backstage passes. I met them. I talked with them. I related a lot to them, especially Ela.
Okay, I remember that controversy happening. I'm going to stop him right there, though. He took a picture with H3. That was the controversy, and people didn't like that because he has a very liberal base, and they consider H3 to be genocide supporters right now. Think whatever you will about that. That's fine. I don't care. But that's not why any of this is happening. All he had to do was just be like, sorry you guys feel bad about that. Literally, I'm sorry you feel that way would have been adequate because people would have forgotten about it, like, in a month. And if he had just kept making content, he'd be fine. So I feel like him viewing that as the thing that ruined his life is him not grasping that he is ruining his life. It seems that his actions since then have continued to cause his own mental health to spiral. I know he was in and out of rehab. He's looking pretty haggardly in this video. I don't know if that's a drug thing or just a manic episode thing. Could be either.
I was like, yeah, I could post that. It's great. I didn't think it would be a statement. It was really stupid of me because, of course, it's a statement. It's Ethen and Ethen Klein. But I wasn't really ready for war. I wanted to back out. So, like, I basically just went against them and said, you know what? I need to back out. I can't do this. This is too hot. And then everyone called me a pussy. Which, I mean, to be fair, like, I kind of was.
I mean, that's correct. I mean, you just admitted the only reason you backed out of it was because you didn't want to face the pressure. So that's kind of the definition of being weak. I won't use the P word, but yeah. I just got to double back on that in the editing room because he says there, not only did he back off and apologize for taking that picture with Ethen and Ethen Klein, but he says he actually went against them. He threw them under the bus.
So, like, I basically just went against them.
Not because he actually believes that they're bad people or they did something wrong, but because he wanted to avoid the backlash and to save face. Think what you will about the H3 people. I'm certainly not like a stan of theirs at all. Whether or not they are bad people has nothing to do with the fact that his motives were pure cowardice.
But also at the same time, I thought that my choice was understandable. Like, I had a family to take care of, you know? Like, I didn't want this to become my life.
I have yet to be in like a major controversy, so, you know, who knows? It's a little unfair for me to sit here and judge tactics, but I do feel like a literal "I'm sorry you feel that way" and then keeping your head down and making your usual content would have been perfectly fine and you'd be back on your feet. It seems like this was largely just an internal battle.
You know, people are talking about it. I'm a hot topic. And my partner is freaking out because she's involved. You know, she's a part of the whole equation. And I start trying to, you know, say things to fix it. And when I try to help, it basically results in her screaming and crying that things are getting worse and that it's all my fault. So I'm trying to, you know, keep my job because I'm paying her a ridiculous amount of money, like $5,000 a month, to basically do nothing. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't have a problem with that. Like, if I like paying her $5,000 a month so she could, you know, lay around, smoke weed on the couch and be happy. Great.
Okay. Kind of sounds like you do have a problem with that. Obviously not a very good look to paint her in that light.
I'd say that everything reached an apex when she recorded me in my house yelling at her through the door. I was fucking pissed. I was just like mad because I'm trying to fucking figure everything out in like an impossible situation. You know, trying to get things back to normal so that like we could live a normal fucking life.
Am I the one tripping? I feel like, hey guys, I'm sorry you were offended. I took a picture with the H3 podcast. I do not support genocide, but I took a picture with them because I always loved their content growing up and I went and saw their show. Like, I feel like that's a winning strategy. I don't know. Even if you don't appease like the Twitch politics Hassan crowd, there's like plenty of people on YouTube who are not of that ilk.
And she repays me by recording me in my house without my knowledge. She sends it to my parents. She sends it to friends. She sends it to people who are associated with Hivemind. Yeah, and it's the biggest betrayal I've ever felt. I really, I felt so violated. But, she couldn't hear that because she looked up that it was legal to do that, to, record me in that state. And because it was legal, it was moral to do that, But, man.
Oh gosh, why is this in a YouTube video? Okay. I mean, I'm sure I'm just saying, at this point, I'm just kind of saying what everybody is thinking, but if it damaged your reputation to all of those people that she sent it to, what was happening in that fucking video? What was going on in that video? Doesn't sound like it was good on your part. You gonna elaborate on that?
I believe maybe a week later, I was streaming. When I said, I remember I was doing a stream and then I left. I go to the kitchen. I see her sitting on the couch, screaming and crying, and I'm pissed off. because like I'm trying to focus, you know, to get work done. And it felt like she was interrupting that.
Hey, babe. Hi. I recognize that you are crying right now and undergoing a traumatic experience of some kind, but I'm trying to talk about AJR for my 1,000 listeners. So can you shut the fuck up, please?
Yeah, my response to her crying was screaming at her, which was bad. But my justification was, I am streaming right now. I can't have you like screaming and crying like in the house. You know, I'm like doing this thing where I'm like, you need to go to your mom's house. And she's like, you know, fuck you. This is my house too. And I'm like, I pay all the bills. This is all important. This is all important. Trust me. I pay the bills for this entire place. You know, like I'm keeping it up. You don't contribute shit to the equation. Get out. She calls the cops on me and they have me arrested for domestic violence. That is really where the story all starts. Like, you know, I'm in a jail cell.
So if he comes with receipts and shows that this was the justice system failing, and they had an argument, and it was able to be leveraged into a false domestic violence claim, he's welcome to bring those receipts. But just the facts of the matter that he's laying out feels like there was maybe a little bit more oomph to this situation than just a shouting match. I don't know if there were threats. This is pretty obviously not a good situation. Okay, so I did come across another account about the domestic violence charges. This is a Twitter thread of an ex-editor of Brad Taste in Music. He and them had a falling out over money. They tweeted yesterday, a bit after the incident between me and Brad, I had tried to reach out to him to clear up the air between us involving the money situation. He was dismissive to me, so I gave up. A few days later, I received a DM from a third party telling me that Brad wanted to talk, so I did. In there, he apologized to me, saying that what I did was what I had to do. I mentioned that I shouldn't have went publicly as quickly as I did, and things worked out fine. I told him I wasn't interested in pursuing a proper friendship again, and we went from there. A few days later, however, I received a phone call from Brad in front of a police station. He was screaming and crying and told me he was just arrested for domestic abuse. He told me he just screamed at her, but I was skeptical and figured there had to be missing details. I stayed on the phone with him until he was at a hotel and safe. He told me things that his fiancée had done, but without much detail. He mentioned that she turned the Hivemind crew against him and bragged into his face that nobody likes you anymore. He pleaded with me not to talk to his fiancée, which I didn't, in part because I didn't really have a proper way of reaching out to her, but heard from a third party who did talk to her that all she did was film him yelling and send it to Hivemind. After that situation went quiet, the whole thing eventually continued to bother me. So many details didn't add up to me. Eventually, I realized that Brad wasn't someone I wanted to keep connections with, considering the incident between us and what I had just learned. I later cut off contact with him and tried to put this whole thing behind me. However, one thing continued to bother me, and that was the online association I currently had with someone who I learned was convicted of DV. I wanted that connection gone, so I tried to email Brad professionally, asking for the removal of any videos featuring me. However, I didn't receive a response from him directly. Instead, he tells someone that I should have apologized for slandering him and he owes me no favors and that he wasn't going to take the videos down. I saw the response and realized that there was no use fighting it and left it be. I mean, he probably does have a legal right to keep those videos up, I would assume. That part of it doesn't really matter to me. Now fast forward today, and I discovered that Brad has publicly come out about the DV charge in what is a weirdly manipulative video involving the situation. I don't know the full details about what happened between Brad and his fiancée, but I have one thing I need to say. Brad, you need to get off the internet and YouTube, blah, blah, blah. The whole situation has left me genuinely confused and brain-fucked, and sitting on the nuclear bomb of information that was Brad's DV charge didn't help. Brad's ex, Tina, has come out with a statement on Twitter as of, 7 hours ago. I'm sifting through the many notes, audio recordings, and screenshots I have dating back to 2019. I'm not sure how much I want to share, if any. Please understand I spent 5 years with this person, and he was paying me to work with/for him for less than 2 years of that. Later in the thread, thread, she says, after almost 6 years of trying my hardest to protect him despite the abuse, I just don't have it in me anymore. So she is formally alleging abuse. There is a domestic violence arrest that did occur. It would be good if she can provide maybe a little bit more evidence, since we don't know how the domestic violence arrest technically went down, but things certainly aren't looking very promising for Brad.
There's like a clip of me that's like me talking about how I don't feel safe in my home, and then like an hour later I'm in jail. You know?
This truly does feel like a gaslighter's blueprint to me. He's provided no receipts. He's provided no even alleged anecdotes as to why he should feel unsafe in his home. Meanwhile, his fiancée has provided several anecdotes and allegations as to why she should feel unsafe in the home. And yet he's saying that he feels unsafe for some ambiguous, unspecified reason. And he's attaching that to him landing in jail over a domestic violence charge.
It's crazy. And I don't want to fucking say any of this. I don't want to talk about this. It makes me look bad. But I'm also now realizing that I don't really care, because that's what happened. Those are, that's what I did. These are the choices I made. Anyways, yeah, so once that happens, the relationship is over. Man, I felt so betrayed. She basically she moved to Detroit. And here's kind of where it gets difficult for me, because it's one thing like losing your partner. It's another thing like with losing Hivemind. The fact that
how on earth did this relationship not pan out? So he was friends with the dudes from Hivemind, and they distanced themselves from him once all this stuff started coming out. Yeah, the woman I was gonna spend the rest of my life with, that was rough, but didn't hold a candle to losing my connections with this YouTube channel with slightly less than 500,000 subscribers.
I almost myself over it. I had this, and I had pills. However, good news is this happened 3 months ago, and there's this much alcohol in the bottle. That means something went well. It means something's going right. So, the fact that, my ex moves to Detroit, around all these Hivemind people, and then starts dating Graydon's roommate, and Riley leaves me on red.
Bro, you could not torture this information out of me. This would be locked away. What are you doing?
In case you don't know who Hivemind is, I collaborated with them. They're a pretty big channel, but just they did to me what they did to Nick is Not Green. I remember when I was there and they were telling me the story. Nick is Not Green, great friends, he has his thing that happens.
Oh man, I literally looked up on YouTube Sly Boy Nick is Not Green to see if I made a video about this, and apparently I didn't. But I am generally aware of the situation. Nick is Not Green made basically a hit piece accusing a particular YouTube channel of a bunch of very foul shit with very scanty evidence, and it was pretty clear that it was just a personal vendetta that was motivating all of this. So he got a lot of backlash. A lot of people cut ties with him, as I think they should have. To his credit, I will say Nick Green did seem to own up pretty well to the situation, but that's what he's referencing there.
And bye-bye Nick is Not Green, no longer associated with the name. Now, of course, at the time, I'm just thinking oh, thank God I'm on the right side, of this shit.
He is a pussy, dude. He just showed his hand again there, where it's his relief in that situation was that he happened to be on the right side of it. His metric of the right side being who gets the heat, as opposed to actually being a principled person who stands up for what they believe in.
And I actually Well, I would say became friends with Nick is Not Green, but I honestly I think he sent me a message like 5 months ago that I never checked. So even then, like, not doing great with that. But like, I got to see that perspective. You know, I got to see both sides. And in my opinion, I don't give a shit. Whatever.
That's what a fucking pussy, dude. Like, that's just slimy. You're just a slime of a man. Like he does not care about right or wrong, is what he keeps saying over and over in different ways. He just cares about being liked and about having a successful YouTube channel.
4 months ago, when I decided to stop streaming and stop working, it basically came down to, I can't do this anymore. I can't fucking do it anymore. Like, something is wrong. You know? So I'm like, I don't really know what is wrong, but I just feel like I shouldn't stream. So instead I start watching movies. And I kind of come to the idea that, like, I don't really know if I should work because I really don't want to. You know? So I just kind of keep sitting around all day watching movies. And then it's like the stuff with my ex, and then like with Hivemind, and how that's all connected. You know, I can't get it out of my head. I fucking can't.
So he's continuing to have a mental breakdown. I don't want to throw out stuff I don't know. It feels like there are substances involved here, and he's holding on to a ton of bitterness over the collapse of his relationship, while simultaneously dodging accountability for what sounded like some pretty terrible behavior, potentially even abusive, if the domestic violence charge does in fact stick.
Like, my ex leaving to go and, like, be a part of Hivemind and fuck Graydon's roommate, you know? Like, yeah, well, I wasn't taking it so well.
So it kind of goes into ramble territory from there. He talks about how the only thing he enjoys doing currently is getting high, listening to music in the car with friends, and so he will just go for long, infinite drives in the middle of the afternoon, scouting music and building playlists to get high to and listen to with friends at night. He talks about reconnecting with his dad a little bit, and then says he's going to be doing better, or he's going to be trying to do better moving forward. Listen, this guy talked about himself a lot in this video. I don't want that to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. You know, obviously the things about his character that have come out as a result of just this ongoing drama is incredibly disappointing. I think it would be best both for him and for everybody else for him to just not do YouTube. It doesn't seem like he likes YouTube anymore. I understand that's how he's made his money, but, you know, you're not entitled to continue having a job off of something that you are clearly bad at. I think he is legitimately just not good at YouTube at this point. If you're in engineering and you start to suck at engineering, you're going to lose your job. That should be the case with influencers as well. Sometimes it isn't. I hope that is the case with him. Again, for his sake and for everybody else's, that to me would be much better than him going on to become some sort of lol cow. Because I think he would have a shorter life if that were the result of all of this. So yeah, very sad, very disheartening. If Brad Taste in Music does in fact leave the internet for good, I promise I will start a Walmart brand Brad Taste in Music copycat channel just to fill the void. I feel as though that is my existential duty, given I seem to be somehow connected to this person, at least in figure. Oh shit. I was just researching this guy and I found myself on his subreddit. Fuck! I didn't do any domestic violence, guys, I swear. You have the wrong guy.